one that was introduced.
Hi and Assalamualaikum to Miss Najwa and also everyone in class. So today, my group has been assigned to talk about Imam Al-Ghazali. So in this presentation, we are going to give you a little insight on Imam Al-Ghazali. We are going to talk about his contributions, his philosophy, and also his curriculum when it comes to education. So now let me introduce you to our group members. It consists of myself, Nur, Juni, Rabiatul Adawiyah, Nur Alia, Sofia, Damia Aqmar, Nur Aishah, Krishanti A, Nur Alifah, Elyana, and also Anisatul Af'idah. I will now pass it over to Damia.
Alright, thank you. So let me begin by introducing who is Al-Ghazali. So Muhammad ibn Muhammad, also known as Al-Ghazali, is a prominent philosopher, theologian, jurist, and mystic of Sunni. He was born in the city of Tus, second city of Khorasan, in the year of 450 Al-Hijrah. He went to Nishapur to attend lessons with Haramain al-Juwaini. Then, his name rises known after proving his skill in debating. Thus, he began teaching in Baghdad and received a high status there. However, he changed his view of life and set off for Damascus and Jerusalem. There, he starts writing books and disciplining his soul. After that, he returned to his homeland after becoming a devoted man. That is all from me. I'm gonna pass it to my friend, and thank you.
Alright, thank you Damia for the background of Imam Al-Ghazali. For my slide, I will introduce the educational background of Imam Al-Ghazali. At the age of 7, he began his education and he studied Arabic, Persian, the Al-Quran, and the principle of religion. At the age of 15, he moved to Jordan to study fiqh with Imam al-Ismaili, and he moved to Nishapur to study fiqh and kalam, that is the study of theology, under Imam al-Juwaini. And at the age of 33, he continued study under Imam al-Juwaini for 5 years, and Imam al-Juwaini also assists him with teaching. And that is when he began to write and studying Sufism under Imam al-Farmadi. That is all from me. I will pass it to the next presenter.
Thank you for passing it over. I'll be talking about the philosophy of Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali focused on the relationship between God and his creation. He followed the traditional Sunnite in unfolding the essence and power of God, and also followed the Sufi undercurrents in understanding the mainstream of Islamic fiqh. He proposed his own ideas of the essence, characteristics, and deeds of God. My second point, the most vital attributes in a person are knowledge and awareness, which are obtained from the reason and inspiration of revelation by God. A virtuous man will be expected to isolate himself from the company of people and all evil and refocus his life to eternity in the afterlife according to him. Thank you very much. I'll be passing on to the next person.
Move on to the next part, which is the aims and principles of education of Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali was not a philosopher of education. Instead, he was a philosopher of religion and ethics. He focused on, and his aim in education was for society to apply Sharia and to have a good connection with God or Allah. And for Al-Ghazali, it is very essential that boys attend maktab, which is in simple words school, at early of their age, because at this point, this is where their behavior, their character is formed and is built. Okay, so the other reason why maktab is very essential, very important in the opinion of Al-Ghazali, because we have educators in maktab, so they are responsible to observe every child's changes in their behavior or attitude.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. I'm Noor Alifah Elyana Binti Nur Azni. My metric number is 4222000671. Today, I would like to talk about Al-Ghazali's contribution, or also known as Imam Al-Ghazali. Imam Al-Ghazali contributes to religion, philosophy, and Sufism. So, in essence, most Muslim philosophers had been following and developing several points of Greek philosophy, including Neoplatonic philosophy, which this can be resulted in a conflict with several Islamic teachings. Aside from that, Sufism was thought to be of such extreme proportion that it avoided the observance of obligatory prayers and Islamic duties. As a result, Imam Al-Ghazali sought to revive these philosophical and Sufi trends. That's all from me, and I will pass it to Krisha to share more about his contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Ifa. My name is Krisha. Based on my contribution in philosophy, Ghazali upheld the approach of mathematics and exact sciences as essentially correct. However, he adopted the techniques of Aristotelian logic and the Neoplatonic procedures and employed these very tools to lay bare the flaws and lacunae of the prevalent Neoplatonic philosophy and to diminish the negative influences of Aristotelianism and excessive rationalism. In contrast to some of the Muslim philosophers, in general, Al-Farabi, he portrayed the inability of reason to comprehend the absolute and the infinity. Reason could not transcend the finity and was limited to the observation of the relative. Also, several Muslim philosophers had held that the universe was finity in space but infinity in time. Ghazali argued that an infinity time was related to an infinity space. Well, that's all from me. I will pass it to Anis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krisha. Right now, I'll be talking about the last part of Al-Ghazali's contribution. In religion, particularly mysticism, he cleansed the approach of Sufism and re-established the authority of Orthodox religion, which is Sunni. Lastly, Al-Ghazali was a prolific writer. Some of his books include The Incoherence of the Philosophers and Deliverance from Error. Some of his works were translated into Latin in the Middle Ages, where he was known as Al-Ghazali. So I'll be passing the next part of the presentation to Juni Melissa. Thank you from me.
For passing it back over to me. So finally, we are going to talk about Imam Al-Ghazali's curriculum. So it's divided into two very obvious types. One, obligatory sciences, and two, optional sciences. Today, I'll be elaborating on obligatory sciences. So what is it actually? Obligatory sciences is a type of study that must be taken by everyone. So those studies consist of religious studies, literature, and also linguistics. It also relates back to anything that is related to additional discipline and also religious studies. I'll pass it over to my friend to talk about optional sciences.
Thank you, Juni. Now, I shall explain about the second curriculum that was introduced by Imam Al-Ghazali, which is optional science. What is optional science? Optional science is a curriculum which is studied according to the wishes of the students and the capacities of the students. So, in this particular curriculum, the students are free to choose whatever subject they like according to their interests and whatever they want to pursue in. So, that's all from us. Thank you for listening to our presentation.